just going to look at it. Hi, everybody. I'm Christian Holub from Entertainment Weekly, and I'm here at New York Comic Con 2019 in the Jacob Javits Center with the director and cast of The Kingsman. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Where's your mic?
Oh, it's hidden inside.
Oh, okay.
But I just wanted to start by asking, you know, Matthew, what first inspired you to think that like a prequel would be an interesting place to take this franchise? And the rest of you guys, what kind of excited you into coming on board?
I wanted to scratch an itch I've had for ages of making a movie, the big epic adventure films which I grew up on, whether it was Lawrence of Arabia, The Man Who Would Be King, Dr. Zhivago. And I think the last time I saw a film like that, ironically, was with Ralph and the English Patient, and where the screen was filled and I really went on an adventure. And making a movie like that on this sort of scale is not exactly easy to raise money for. So I thought if I entwined that into the Kingsman universe, Hollywood wouldn't be as scared of it as they.
Smart.
You know, well, you have to be with Hollywood. You have to con these guys to let you make good films. And then we. And then I needed to get a good cast, which these guys said yes to, and I did a prequel on X-Men, and that was quite not hard, but constrained because the characters were known. So I thought, if I'm going to do an origin story, do it whether the only thing that it has is the moral values of the Kingsman movies, the tailor shop, and the line in the first Kingsman saying it was founded in 1919 due to the World War I. And then that's why. I don't know if that answers the question good enough, but also, you know, I wanted to make this type of film.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, what did you guys like about kind of the earlier Kingsman movies, or what made you want to work with Matthew?
I'm glad you asked. I thought you were asking me that. I was like,
No, I'm throwing it to the rest
say
of
the
them now.
paycheck. I don't know what else to say.
Go on, Harris. You go first.
Yeah.
I'll go first. I mean, I think I'm going to talk about you like you're not here for a second. Matthew's so impressive in the worlds he creates and the sort of things he manages to orchestrate. So, you know, to be a part of that was just really exciting, man. You know, you gave me so much freedom, and you instilled a lot of confidence in me, and I think that enabled me to just throw myself into it. And obviously, working with Ralph and Djimon, you know, I've loved these guys' work for a long time. So to get to not only watch them work and sculpt these like fantastic characters, but to work alongside them, it was a learning curve, and I think the film's just exciting and it's got so much scope. So to work within that was just really exciting.
It was great working with Harris too.
Thank you. He has to say that.
I know. I think Matthew created a great ensemble atmosphere between all the actors. I feel it's an ensemble piece. We have wonderful Gemma Arterton in it, and Rhys Ifans gives life to Rasputin, and wonderful British actor Tom Hollander plays the Tsar of Russia, the King of England, and the Kaiser of Germany.
Oh, wow.
And he's quite brilliant. It certainly seemed like that when we were shooting.
He's good. He did very good.
Yeah,
He did very well.
He's brilliant.
Yeah.
So there was a great atmosphere. I think everyone was drawn to. I mean, obviously, I think the tone of Matthew's earlier Kingsman films is very attractive, but this seemed to be taking it into another area or a different arena with this historical context and the beginning. I think we were all felt tantalized by this. It's multi-leveled in many ways. It's got pathos, tragedy, exciting, you know, funny, flashy action sequences, and it's got a historical life to it. So I think I can't speak for everyone.
No, that's certainly that's true. The historical aspect of it, obviously, me being raised in Paris, in France, and my early education, and certainly the affinity with this story, having loosely based on the history of the early formations of Europe. I thought that was quite educational, but certainly I didn't expect first of all, you know, working with Ralph Fiennes. Obviously, it's kind of like
working with Djimon.
A master class, you know, and in which you're obviously in it, and I react pretty much off of his work, and that was beautiful too. Thank you. And by the way,
Thank you.
the action aspect was the thing that threw me off. Sort of like it surprised me because I thought it would have been was an easy film to make, and certainly I met this man called Matthew Vaughn, director, big dreamer, and very opinionated, and then what a wow.
Director
But anyway.
/ dictator.
That's it. And it was quite painful from the first week on, and it's still, sort of like nursing some of the injuries right now. But it was a very challenging film, and very challenging by its, the tone of the action was just unbelievable, and it did not mimic that period. Yeah, it did not quite mimic that period. But so when you look at action pictures these days, they are very, technically advanced. You see what I mean? And so how do you transpose that lack of instrument, but you want to keep the edge of almost like the technology of today, but to transpose it to that time and with the action and all that was quite difficult to do. And I think also he's such a very demanding director. That was
say
quite
demanding, not dementing. Dementing means
demanding.
Yes.
Excuse my
Occasionally
English.
demented.
I'm French. Excusez-moi.
No, it's a good-
Pardonnez-moi.
All right, well,
All over the
actually,
place.
yeah,
Anyway.
going right off that, talking about the action,
Yes.
fight scenes are always such a highlight of your movies, Matthew. Like when I think of the first Kingsman, I think the first thing that comes to mind is Colin Firth in the church and how crazy that scene is. So what can you guys kind of tease about some of the fight scenes in this movie?
I think we've managed to reinvent sword fighting.
Okay.
And I was really impressed with Ralph, actually, because Ralph is a master of theatre. I'm a definite novice in that world, and I even went to watch Ralph and Antony and Cleopatra, and suddenly saw a whole new world opened up to me. But what I didn't realize that Ralph learned sword fighting at RADA or somewhere and got very good at it. So when he went for his first lesson, we were like, oh God, it's going to be the thespian trying to be an action star, and he just, like a duck to water, just literally picked up the sword, and I was showing that his technique was extraordinary. So it was a delight to understand that theatre has more in common with what I do than I ever imagined. But Ralph was brilliant at it. Brilliant.
I love those old movies where the actors, they did used to have to be very adept with swords, like Errol Flynn and Basil Rathbone, and that generation were expected to know how to use a sword. When I was at drama school, we had a great fight instructor who used to, every intake, every term had an event called something like the Fight Championships, and actors went off and created their own stage fight.
Oh, right.
Well, either they made up the script or they took it from a play. And so I relished those classes, and so I was excited. That was one aspect of the script that I really relished, was
And it's great.
sword fighting.
He's pulled it off. Really pulled it off. Yeah.
All right. Well, excited to see what kind of fights we have coming in the movie. Thank you guys so much for coming by, and stay tuned for more coverage of New York Comic Con 2019 at Entertainment Weekly.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.